Hello and welcome to Self Talk. My name is Danko Sidorowski, your host, and to my right I have my partner Herb Martin, psychotherapist and life coach. And today's guest, we're welcoming back Mike Markovsky of The Peace Perspective. Welcome, Mike.
Thank you for having me back again.
We wanted to talk a little bit today about how people transition by places of maybe unhappiness and their own personal truth that they may have not acknowledged for some time. We talked in another episode about your early life and what things you saw along the way. Tell us then, when you graduate, where did you go to school?
I went to Oakland University.
Oakland University.
Got a finance degree with economics minor.
Okay, and then the career you started to go after was?
Well, I got involved in accounting, construction accounting first, pretty successful at it, and then eventually I got into being a controller for a construction company, RAM Construction Services in Livonia. Great company, great career there. And the last year or so I'm thinking, wow, I've had a great run here, but what resonates with me is how can I make a difference? You know, how much is enough is financially, where do I want to spend the next 25 years? And talking to my wife over the last year, we go, you know what, we have to, I've always talked about this. You know, she was getting sick of hearing it all the time. What are we going to do about it? Can we write a book? Can we do something? Can I change path? And it was really difficult being Macedonian, making good money, company car. How are you going to give that up, you know? And we came to a point where my passion was so much about this. I've lived my whole life about it. We had to do it. So we finally bit the bullet and decided, you know, we're gonna leave RAM Construction Services to go forward into a new path.
How long were you a controller for?
16 years.
16 years as a controller, with a good income. And then what was that defining moment that you said, this is what I have to do?
Well, I don't know if it was defining. It was, I always knew there was a second career for me. This was just a necessary means for financially, but I knew, because I was always passionate about reading about books. I read like over 200 books on self-improvement. This was something I had to do. Even though I was doing controller, I was successful, that was not going to define me. What was going to define me is doing what I loved.
Isn't that interesting, Herb?
Yes,
what he just said?
Very interesting.
He says, what I had to do.
Yeah.
What does that mean to you?
Well, had is basically a non sequitur. There's nothing you have to do except die and pay taxes. Tell me what is you have to do.
For me, I had to get this because I found within myself a greatness, a connection to the center of the universe, and it had to come out because I want to help people live in a more fulfilling way.
It's interesting to me because what I hear when he says had, it's his passion. It's like when you talk to an artist, he has to make that painting. He can't sit there and not make that painting. That's what I think.
Because you're not complete. You don't feel complete if you don't do it.
Right.
That may be true, but there's nothing that you have to do.
Oh, I understand.
So
It feels that way, though.
Yeah,
It feels that way.
passion.
But it's guy used to work together, and the guy from India, the psychologist. He said to me, "Herb, we worked on Saturday together with patients." So the guy says, "Herb, I got my kid married, and then the other one's married," and he says, "and I got all kinds of money. I'm bringing people back over at that." And he says, "Herb, I want to have a session with you, and I'm going to pay for it."
Oh.
I said, "Doc, you know already." He says, so he comes in. He says, "What do you think?" I said, "The only time that you're going to do what you want to do is when you say so." It's as simple as that.
So it's the self-talk.
Self-talk.
inside.
I gotta go somewhere, and I gotta do this. And where's the guy?
Well, it's that passion. That's what I keep saying. It's like even my name being Mir, meaning peace in Macedonian. There was something there. Okay, the previous career was just a stepping stone. I feel to something bigger. Well, Ram Construction Services were a great company. I had a great career. If provided for my family, my wife didn't have to work. I made good income, so she could take care of the kids. So it was just a part of my life, a big part. But I knew there was a second part. So this book was a stepping stone for me to really even now to even get to this show, is because I think the universe, after a while, conspires to help you because you want to promote greater good. So we ran across each other in a meeting, and this happened and that's the way the overall universe works. I think is when you want to do good, eventually it's going to find a way to make it happen.
I agree, but I disagree in this sense.
Okay.
That when the doctor asked me, I said, nobody, you got this, you got that. Now, what do you want to do? When you say you have to do something, it's like that. If you say, I want to, it's a different word. You like to pay taxes? No. But if you don't pay taxes, you're going to have.
Yeah, but I think that's just words. I'm talking about. We're talking about the same. We're talking passion. Okay, passion means you have to do it. Okay, you want to do it. It doesn't matter. You want to create something. It's just semantics. The words. Okay. The bottom line is there's something you want to create and give to the world.
You said that right. Want to.
Let me ask you.
There's no right or wrong way, right?
I want to get into the book a little bit here because I find it an amazing thing that you've put together here. For the purpose of it is to increase your child's self-esteem by helping them to discover a peace within. And that's your the overall statement.
Yeah.
And we've talked about this piece in our conversations many times about love and sharing that love. But tell us some of the main points of your book.
The main thing for me is, and we talked about it before on the side, is the first question you have to answer is, who are you? And people talk about it, you waste your time with that. But that's the central question. When you figure out you're beyond your body and your mind, even your spirit, you're beyond all that and connected to a greater source, which we call the universe or God, you change your outlook. That's why I call it a peace perspective, because when you get that understanding, your life changes because you don't view things the same. Instead of reacting in stress and negative, you automatically react in a loving and peaceful way. Why? Because you're connected to the center. You're not separate. We're all together, and that changes everything. I call it also in the front there, seeing the world in a new way, because that's what it is. Nothing's changed in your life, but your perspective changes everything.
How do you teach a child that?
Easy. The way you teach, and that's what the book's about, that the parents have to become the role model. So this book is geared for the parents especially, so they can find peace through mindfulness, through meditation, through just understanding how do I connect to my greater self. And when you do that, it becomes automatic. Your reactions are more loving, more kind. You don't yell. How can you? Because you have love. Wayne Dyer, who I love, says, when you squeeze an orange, what do you get? Orange juice, right? When you squeeze a person with love, no matter what you squeeze them by, stress, what kind of stress? Love comes out. You can't get stress and hatred out of a person who is filled with love. This is what the book tries to do. How can we fill ourselves and our kids with love? So no matter, they won't reach for drugs or violence, because how can you? You don't have that within you. And the way you do that again is connecting to who you are.
And in that connection too, I'm gonna go back. If my dad had said to me, "You're too young to go to work," and he did, but he said, "You do not have to go to work, Herb. You're gonna eat here," and if he said, "No, you couldn't do it," I develop anxiety about what I want to do or can do. So the idea of words are powerful. Dad said, "Don't go over there, Herb." I'm not going there. You know what I mean? But I could, but I don't have to. And it's the freedom that I experienced all my life that I've had. And so if I'd have said I had to get in here and all of this I'd be unhappy.
Yeah,
So
but you respected your dad, so you don't want to disappoint him. So that's why you followed him, because you respected and loved him, and he gave you great examples. That's the reason.
yeah, so that's what I'm saying. The idea, he didn't put, you have to. What do you want to do, Herb? You're free.
Give you a choice.
Give me a choice. But if I had not wanted to do the things that I've done, then I had to do it. You go and practice that instrument.
What's interesting about that? What's interesting about that is there's a lot of different parenting books that are out there, and there's a lot of different perspectives on how to parent. There's the extremes of the Tiger Mama book, which is a Asian perspective of parenting, and then there's other ones on giving choices to your children and giving them options. What are the tactics, Mike, that you share in your book that young parents can learn from to spread that peace perspective?
Well, obviously, having unconditional love, I have a section on that. And loving a child, no matter if they fail in a certain activity, you want your child to give full effort. Okay, if somebody gives a full effort and gets a C, okay. You can control the effort, but you can't control the result. So focus on the effort. Some kids don't even have to try and get like a B. Well, then I would be, okay, I would tell it to the kid, obviously you can do a little bit. You can control that. I can't control the result. You have God-given ability. Let's maximize them. But no matter what, unconditional love is loving your child no matter what kind of things happen. So the key is, if they have difficulty and problems, that they somehow come to you for guidance and not to their friends. That's the greatest sign. If you develop enough trust, will they come to you and not the friends? And that's when you know you raise your kids right, because they trust you, and you won't yell and belittle them and judge them. You'll accept them when they have difficulty, and that's a hard thing to do. That comes through early on, developing that trust when they're younger.
How young?
It could be 3, 4, 5, because you just, when they come to you even 4, 5, you say, you still love them. Oh, you made a mistake? Wow, let's fix that. Not yelling. Guess what? Next time they do something, they won't hide. They'll come to you because you're giving them respect and love. Even when the key is when they made a mistake, that you give them. And that's a hard thing to do because we're very judgmental, right?
That's
and unconditional love.
Society.
And I also talk about.
Well, with some people, that's the way you raise their kids. The have to kind of piece,
right.
Which this is
Wrong or right.
It kills the idea of freedom.
Giving them options. I have a section talk about catching a kid doing things right.
That's right.
It's a different concept because we're always catching kids, even babies, the whole thing, right?
Right.
They'll go in there, don't do. We're always looking for something wrong.
Right.
And we keep that mentality for a lifetime.
They can't do anything wrong when they're young.
But what if when our kids were young, we actually gave them points. It's monetary, like a couple of dollars a month. But we give them, oh, you did that great. We give them a little check mark. They're all happy.
That's good.
They did catching them doing things right, because that way, wow, they're looking. They're actually appreciating things I'm doing right instead of, and that's a different tactic we talk about as well.
Yeah.
But the overall thing, I think, is, again, who are you? And being the example, being the role model.
You gotta walk the talk.
Yeah, don't smoke, but you're smoking a cigarette.
Right.
It ain't gonna do any good, right?
Right.
You gotta be the example through action.
That's right.
And that's the whole key.
Yeah, and you got to use the right language. We espouse that people come to this world tabula rasa, meaning blank mind, and what we put on people as small children is an expectation there with a lot of people they got to go to this school. Now, this, that. I had never told my kids what school to go to. I just say, look, guys, I'd have a discussion about, what do you want to do, man?
You show them respect. You give them options.
Yes, and
That's
so
huge.
if I say you have to go here and you have to, no, you don't have to do anything but die and pay taxes.
I want to ask some other questions here on the tactics and how do we make a child feel worthy in pursuing their passions, and maybe it took you some time to get to this place. What if you would have got to this place 16 years before?
Well, it would have been huge. I think the one thing that really stands out is you have to develop your child to have persistence. It's so easy to be non-resilient and give up after the first couple of times. We were talking about Michael Jordan. The key to his success is I've failed and failed and failed, and that's the reason I'm successful. I read books about people who are billionaires. It's always about passion and persistence.
Yes.
Those are the two qualities that always
That is.
even override intelligence, because you have to be a risk taker, and you have to have heart, and you have to go the extra mile when people give up. And that comes through, again, either the parents or you read book from great minds and learn from their examples. So that's really the key.
And studies indicate that that people who are rich have the same model. It's religion, believability in themselves. They take chances. And most of the people, I think about, what's the guy that invented the phone?
Edison.
Recently he died.
Oh, Steve Jobs?
Yeah. Steve Jobs just upset people.
Yeah, but he created great products, man.
Yeah, but I admire this because he didn't let people define him. You define yourself. You live for yourself. Somebody says to me, Herb, what do you do? I said, I wake up in the morning and think, God, I'm here one more time. And well, I don't have a plan for living per se. I've got things that I want to do and accomplish, but it's nothing I have to do. Now, it takes a long time to get there, you know what I mean?
I want to touch on something that you said, and that's believing in yourself.
Yes.
And I also want to ask Mike about how important and how the support within your marital situation and your family, how did it feel, and how was your wife, your partner, your whole dynamic, and how did you work with that, and how did it affect you to make this possible?
Well, I said before that this book would have made possible without my wife, because it's a big decision. Somebody to say, listen, you have this great lifestyle, great job, and you're going to put that to the side to pursue something so uncertain. And through great love from her and working together, because I was working so much, I would get up at 6, come home at 7 or 8, and 6 days all the time, and sometimes 7. So we didn't see each other. So the scary part is, okay, now we're going to be together. What's going to happen? All the time. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, all the time. So it is, okay, so we've been married 26 years, and the last 2 years, actually been the most fulfilling, even though it's uncertain and a lot of things going on, because we've become a team. She helped make this book happen. She edited. She was harder than any editor I had. We went through like 15, 20 copies of this, and she was really on me to make it simple, relevant, because I'm really metaphysical, and she's like, okay, we got to get to people who actually understand what you're saying.
Right.
Okay, so in that respect, she made it possible, because she made it like for an average person to understand what I'm trying to convey. And we've actually had a more fulfilling relationship because we're spending more time and really through this book bonded together. Even my sons have helped out through marketing the website. It's a family thing, and it's a great thing because you're working for something It's a great goal because
believe
Yes, it
in.
is.
because it's really something that to inspire people, to inspire even the world to look at their own greatness. I do a lot of inspirational posts on Facebook, 3 a day, and people throughout the world, I have like 5,000 followers through all the social media, and there's so many great comments. So we love the post because everybody wants to see uplifting things. You know, you look on there for 15, 20 minutes, when you were across the stuff, you go, wow, that's a great thought. It makes you think, and hopefully it draws you closer. So that's one way I'm doing to inspire people, not one, twice, but 3 times a day, different times, so they run across it. And it's amazing how people throughout the world, South Africa, India, Europe, it's like crazy. It's like they think I'm a celebrity. I'm just doing something that I believe in and trying to help them find their greatness.
And that's a terrific goal. And what I noticed that when I practice it every minute, guy, and this is a small thought. Somebody comes to the door, older couple. I go to the door. I don't know them. I open the door for them. So I do everything that I can think of that makes me feel stronger, because and the guy didn't even say thank you. But then I turn around and say, I'm glad I'm not like that.
But you're sharing love,
Yeah.
which is really,
It's what
You
he's
can't go
doing
wrong
the
with
same
that.
thing.
You
This
can't
is
go
like,
wrong
yeah,
with that.
yeah.
Because, but you only
got-
share the love
Yeah.
if you have it within.
That's right.
So many people don't, and it all starts with loving yourself. If you don't love yourself, how are you going to be able to give love to other people?
do you
It's
help
impossible.
people
No,
identify
everything.
with how to shed those pieces
Yeah.
and to love themselves?
Yeah,
Yeah.
what I found out, and it's a big part of my book and what I believe works for me, is I call it mindfulness. Mindfulness is simply the fact that you're able to be in the moment free of judgment. You don't label things. It
Right.
just is. And when you're totally absorbed in a moment, you feel at peace. There's no like Mike. It's just the moment. I'm in front of here, the house, the trees, I'm washing dishes. There's no drama, there's no story, I gotta do this. So
Don't
we call it the zone, right? Athletes call it the zone. When you're in that zone, everything is right. Everything is perfect and things work out.
Well, your mind's clearer too, because
Yeah.
you're not thinking about, oh, is my car parked in the wrong spot? Because you're just right here.
But what happens is we're always caught up in a past or future. I call it's a disease. Eckhart Tolle talks about it, which is my favorite spiritual leader. We have a disease of too much thinking. People, if you ask them, I can't stop thinking. Some people, how do you stop thinking? Like, we can't even control our thoughts. It's a scary thing, but who's thinking then? If you're not thinking, you can't control it, then who's doing all the thinking for you? So when you stop, I think 60, 70% of our thinking is negative. If you can just, there's 30% that are relative, the other stuff is like repetition, negative. Get rid of all that and be in the moment. Don't get so caught up, okay, you gotta do certain things, but when you're walking, don't be thinking about the business meeting or when you get home or you gotta set the table. No, they'll take care of itself when you get there. The problem is people are missing life because they're not living what's in front of them.
Or cell phones. Today, what I notice is, especially the youth, which is a scary thing for when they get older, is they're somewhere else all the time,
All the
on,
time.
on the mobile phones
All
and
the
whatnot.
time.
So
They're on the beach on their phone. So how are you
Right.
gonna enjoy the beach?
you can't enjoy the beach.
so-
You're taking pictures to send people that you're doing on the beach.
And we come from a generation where we've seen it all, right? We saw it before cell phones,
Yeah.
way before cell phones, and then there was a time where no one could get a hold of you. When you were on a walk, you were on a walk,
Right.
but your mind still could have been somewhere else. But
Yes.
we have more debris coming from all different places now. That
And-
how do we teach our kids
Well,
to?
that's the thing, and that's why this book is very, it's the ability to have a certain amount of silence. Even if it's 15, 20 minutes, I'm not that big on meditation, but I'm big on mindfulness. Even if you're washing the dishes or doing the carpet or taking a walk, be there. Be there 100%. If a thought comes, let it pass. Like a cloud, don't get caught up in a thinking. Just let it pass and be in the moment. And that recharges your battery. You know, cars need fuel. I think as people, we need our present moments and that fills us up. When we're connected, we get that energy. We get a refuel with like a vehicle. So that's the thing, is that mindfulness, our connection to a center, and living that way. There's so much knowledge, but can you live with that knowledge? People read so much stuff, but how do you take that knowledge into living? It's such a big step. People just get caught up with doing too much. Make it simple. Make it simple. Make it simple.
Sounds,
Absolutely.
What's beautiful about that word, present? What does a present mean? It's a gift.
We have a gift of the present moment.
Right now, we're here, and it's a gift.
Yeah.
And so I think that may
Without a
be
doubt.
what you're saying is
Without a
that
doubt.
take those gifts.
Well, that's Wayne Dyer's famous thing, and I always liken that. It is a gift. Are we accepting the gift? No, we're not, because we're caught up doing other stuff and not accepting the present gift.
By, people are
Yeah.
trying to market
And we
to
don't,
us.
We don't even know it's a gift. There's a rejection of rational thinking in our society. And the gift is to be, like movie stars, they have to be right there.
It's a great way to.
And to act.
It's
the time, this space is all we have.
It's all we have.
It's a great way to end our program. I want to thank you very much, Mike and Herb, for I think a great show.
Just a quick note, if I can. On my website at peaceperspective.com, there's a free book sample, reviews that are positive throughout the world. I welcome people to go and check the book sample. It's free.
ThePeacePerspective.com.
And there's great reviews, and I also have a video explaining the book. So it's a great source.
Thank you very much for tuning into Self Talk, and for parents out there, the Peace Perspective, and for people. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank
Appreciate
you very
it.
much.
Thank you.
You took
I enjoyed
me for
it.
a nice ride.